question that I probably get asked the most by people is, how did you get started doing phone reviews? How do I do what you do? I want to be a phone reviewer, but I don't see job listings for phone reviewer. How do I get into it? That kind of thing. So I will try to give you the short answer. Again, if this isn't interesting to you, no sweat. Don't watch the video. But I get asked the question enough. I figured it'd be worth it to put this up there. First of all, it's still kind of mind-blowing to me that this is what I'm doing right now for a living. It is a job. I don't just do it, for fun or for myself. I do love this stuff, gadgets and technology and all that. I find it fascinating. It's obviously a lot of fun to get to play with all the new stuff, all the new phones as they come out. And I've just always, I've always been a geek about this stuff and always found it just really interesting how, things just develop so quickly and the new technology seems to get faster and faster and smaller, and that's always been kind of interesting to me. How do you get to do a job like this? What classes should you take in school? All that kind of stuff. Well, what I can tell you is I didn't set out to do this. I didn't look through job listings looking for a job, being a phone reviewer. But so my path may wind up being a lot different than yours. But basically, I've always been in technology. I've always been interested in writing, and I got interested in video production and video editing and that kind of stuff. As it became something that you could do on a computer at home, and you didn't need a whole fancy TV studio to do. So I actually studied English. I actually started writing, let's go way back, in high school. I wrote for my school paper. I was the sports editor of my school newspaper. And I also wrote as a freelancer for a local sports weekly that covered the local sports scene in upstate New York where I grew up. So I was always interested in journalism and writing. The best piece of advice I can give you, even if you want to just do videos, is to become the best writer you can, because writing is just incredibly important. I don't make a living just by doing videos. I do a lot of writing, and a lot of the communication I have with all the phone companies and the people I work with and the PR people and everybody is all written over email. And the better first impression you can make, the better chance you'll have to be able to do the things you want to do. And a lot of that first impression comes down to writing. So learn how to write. It's really important. Again, even if you just want to do video stuff. Anyway, I was an English major, undergraduate, studied, English and writing and everything. Got out of college. At the end of college, I wrote an article about a jazz drummer who was teaching at the college I went to. I'm a musician. I'm a drummer myself. So I got to interview him and hang out with him some, and I wrote up a piece. I submitted it to a music magazine, Modern Drummer, and I submitted this 20-page article, and they said to me, if you can edit it down to 500 words, we'll pay you $50 and we'll run it. All right, why not? So I did, and it was the first, wasn't the first piece I sold because I'd done this stuff in high school, but that really got me going in terms of trying to be a journalist. I wrote for a bunch of small publications you've probably never heard of, some music magazines. I moved to New York City. I wrote for a local newspaper about education. I did an internship in an arts magazine. And then I actually was working in technology mostly to make my living, doing a bunch of different stuff related to tech. Long story short, I went back to school. I got a graduate degree in educational technology. I'd done some teaching before, summer school and TA and that kind of stuff. I love working with kids. So I got a degree in education, and I became a teacher. And I was still freelancing on the side. I wrote for a magazine called Mac Directory about the Apple Macintosh world. And then I left teaching, and I worked a bunch of different jobs in tech and .com and educational technology, that kind of stuff. But the whole time on the side, I was writing for Mac Directory, and then I started writing for PowerBook Central, which is a website, pbcentral.com, great website about the Apple and portable Apple community in particular. Became the reviews editor there. I wrote a column for a while, started doing reviews, got promoted, became the reviews editor, and then went back to teaching. Long story. My career path has been very winding. But anyway, point being that when I left teaching the most recent time, I was looking for freelance work. I decided I wanted to go back to freelancing and writing. And one of the gigs I picked up was I was actually looking for a new cell phone. My contract was up, looking for a new cell phone, trying to figure out, what service to get, what phone to get, just like a lot of you guys who watch my videos, that's why you're here. And I came across this website, Phone Dog, that was looking for somebody to write reviews. And, I'd been writing reviews about Macs and computers, and I figured, why not? Let's take a crack at cell phones. And so I did, and it just worked out. So again, you know, it all started with the writing. We didn't start doing the videos until I'd been working with them for probably about a year. And we had no idea it was going to turn into such a big part of what we do right now. And it just has, you know, it's just worked out. So again, the best thing I can say to you is learn how to write, learn how to present yourself professionally, if you know, as well as you can, and just follow what you're interested in. I didn't, you know, I've always been interested in gadgets. I was interested in teaching. I tried to do both, and this is kind of where I'm at now, and there you go. So, you know, follow your passion, but do it as professionally as you can, is my best advice to you.